Let's bring in our Danielle Savoni with our first look at the weather. That was a lot of rain. And
yeah.
I mean, we were talking about it for a while.
We were talking about it for a while. Let's do a little recap. And I'm going to focus on areas that saw the most amount of rainfall and the strongest winds. So this is the most intense part of the system. All right, rainfall totals. And again, when you see that little star there, that's a third-party report, so not official report from Environment and Climate Change Canada. But Kananaskis Valley, over 200 millimeters. Areas, a couple communities just south of Oyen, over 130 millimeters. When you look at areas just south of High River, up to 120 millimeters. So over 100 millimeters in many communities. And when you combine this with wind gusts, it was a tricky, especially on Saturday, it was a tricky one, of course. And localized flooding was definitely an issue. Bassano, 81 kilometers per hour, Milk River 87, Traverse 86, so well into the 80s in many areas. It was a day for sure, but a lot of farmers are very happy because they've got a lot of rain that was much needed. All right, 14 degrees is the temperature in Calgary right now. The wind's relatively calm at the moment, but they'll likely pick up. Your 24-hour forecast is brought to you by 5th Avenue Volkswagen. Find more than what you're expecting at 5th Avenue Volkswagen. We have the potential for showers and thunderstorm activity right up until about 1 a.m. Fog patches developing overnight, and in the afternoon, chances of thunderstorms once again non-severe, but it will be warmer with a high of 21.
Bring in Danielle once again. You want to talk about all the rain amounts. I mean, Calgary got a fair amount too.
Yeah, so we weren't at that excessive amount, but we certainly got a lot for the city just in about a day and a half. 70 millimeters of rain here in Calgary. Yeah. Got a little windy, certainly got chilly as well. And when you check out your Skywatch weather camera, you can see off to the left of this shot, there are some cells dancing around us. We have the potential of getting isolated showers and thunderstorms, non-severe, for the next few hours, really up until 1 a.m. We have that possibility in Calgary. 13 degrees is the temperature right now, so it's warmer in Banff compared to Calgary. Normal daytime high is well above 20, so we're certainly below normal for today. Our high was 17. Lethbridge is at 20 right now, Milk River as well, and just above 20, Brooks, Medicine Hat, and Drumheller as well. Looking closer to home, Bragg Creek 13, Cochrane 11, 13 in Irricana, and 14 in Strathmore. Get your daily dose of greens at Serenity Golf Club, just 20 minutes east of Calgary. All right, so in the south end, southern Alberta in general, we're looking at non-severe thunderstorms dancing around right now. But off into Saskatchewan, it's a different story because rotation is possible there. And there's even just south of Saskatoon right now, tornado warnings in place. So while they're seeing more severe storms on the Saskatchewan side, we're getting storms, maybe a little bit of small hail associated with some of these, but most of these are dying out pretty quick. They come with lightning, they come with a decent downpour, but they're non-severe in southern Alberta. For Calgary, we've had one skirt us earlier, and we have the potential again up until about 1 a.m. of seeing that activity. I do want to zoom in just to one area because of one cell I'm looking at. Again, it's still non-severe, so it doesn't have those excessive wind gusts or larger size hail, but just tracking just south of Hussar, and potentially Bassano might see a little bit of this as well. Smaller size hail associated with this one, and big downpour. Okay, so up until 1 a.m. is our possibility in Calgary of that activity, a little longer, closer to that southeast corner. But for tomorrow morning, this is a look at tomorrow morning. Sunshine, so a nice start to the day. We get into the potential of that instability once again, especially up the QE2, Calgary, and just to about Claresholm and off to the east. So Brooks may even see that activity as well. And then late day Wednesday, same idea. We're not looking at a warm week, but it will be warmer than it has been on the weekend. Temperatures in those lower 20s, and we are looking at that potential for instability, isolated showers, pop-up thunderstorms, windy at times. That's really the story for tomorrow, and it's really the story for much of this week, as you can see here. Thursday looks like the more stable one, I guess, with a smaller chance of any sort of shower or thunderstorm activity.
forecast bring in, Danielle, once again, the rain helping a lot of situations
Absolutely helpful, yeah. In many cases, localized flooding, though, in some areas. But, you know, we needed this for sure. 13 degrees is the current temperature. Today's high was 17, so we're certainly below normal. Normal is 21 for this time of year. We're going to get back into those 20s, though, and be around normal for the next few days, as you can see here. A little windy at times, and there is the chance of some late-day thunderstorms for Tuesday, Wednesday. To be honest, for most days this week, we may get a break from that risk by the time we get into Thursday.
Well, when you're not in the ski business, you don't really want to hear about snow in June, but that's just the way it was. And Danielle, the city of Calgary got a lot of rain over the weekend.
Yeah, we did. We got 70 millimeters of rain here in Calgary, and that was in a short amount of time. And I'm not sure about your street, but right along my street, there were some very large puddles that were very tricky to drive through. So it was quite an event. It's fairly done now. I say this, but in and behind it, it's unstable. Which is leading to these isolated showers and pop-up thunderstorms, non-severe. 13 degrees is the temperature right now. So yes, we've had some cold air filter in on the weekend, and still for today, our high 17 was today. We will be warmer. We'll be back into the 20s for tomorrow, but really up until 1 o'clock in the morning, we have the potential for isolated showers and thunderstorms, fog patches overnight and early tomorrow morning, then a good long stretch of sunshine, and then by the supper hours, we get into the risk of showers and thunderstorms once again. More details coming up, Ian.
Danielle, just looking around the city today at all the trees and the foliage and the grass, things have really blossomed, and you have to think that all that rain over the weekend really helped.
It did really help, and for many farmers, this was a very good thing, and for some localized areas, is it a little too much too fast, as we talked about, and there was some localized flooding and pooling on roads and highways. I know we talked about Calgary's amount. We got basically 70 millimeters of rain in a very short amount of time. But just to give you an indication of, you know, overall, Capon, just south of Oyen, 131.4 millimeters of rain. Bragg Creek, again, the Bragg Creek number is from an unofficial reporting station. It gives you an indication. For Bragg Creek, 109.7 millimeters of rain. Sundre, 65.4. Lethbridge, basically 60. So it was a good system, delivered a lot of rain, strong wind gusts associated with this in some communities, over 80 kilometers per hour, trees, small trees down. So it was something for sure for the weekend. We're done that now, but this week is looking unstable for much of the week, especially by the later hours of each day. 13 degrees is the temperature in Banff, so yes, this system brought in a cooler air mass, as you noticed, for the weekend, but we're starting to recover from that now. It's 17 in Lethbridge. That's our daytime high at this point. 21 is what's normal for this time of year in Calgary, just to put that in perspective. It's 20 in Lethbridge, Brooks, Drumheller, and Milk River at the moment. Okay, radar and satellite. We have thunderstorms that are moving through. These are non-severe thunderstorms. We don't have many of the ingredients in place for these to intensify. However, some areas south of Syrio, for example, earlier today near Hussar have actually seen smaller size hail with some of these cells. So lightning with some of these. It is starting to quiet down for the night. We don't really have thunderstorms tracking towards Calgary, but we still have isolated showers tracking towards. We even have some isolated showers in parts of the city right now. Still the potential, though, for a non-severe thunderstorm in Calgary for the next few hours, and showers possible up until about 1 o'clock in the morning. But then this is tomorrow morning. Yes, mainly sunny for all of southern Alberta. There will likely be fog patches, Calgary and many other communities. And then later in the day, thunderstorm development is possible and showers once again. Later in the day on Wednesday, showers and thunderstorm activity possible once again. So it's a bit of an unstable week. Temperatures will be fairly where they should be for this time of year for the entire week. It will be a little windy later in the day, up to 40 kilometers per hour. And again, late day thunderstorms possible Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. That's your Action Furnace 5-day forecast.
Incredible. How could you turn away from that? That is just like the most incredible train wreck that you just, you gotta watch it.
Gotta watch it right to the end.
Also not a bad reason to be late for work.
Exactly. Well, good thing it was on a Saturday as well.
Oh, it's on Saturday.
Yeah, lots of fun. Well, delivery vehicles are the norm in many residential neighborhoods, but very few get a response like this. This is the response Mario, a UPS driver, gets when he approaches a home in Georgia. Becca Whitley's dogs go nuts. You see, Mario brings them treats, and he's been coming here for 10 years now. But this was his last day before he moves on to a new route. Mario and Becca give each other a hug and shed some tears. Becca says they exchanged gifts over the holidays, and they became very good friends.
Mario will be back there. He'll be giving them treats. He might have a new route, but he'll still be back.
Yeah, what are the dogs going to do without Mario's treats?
Exactly.
Yeah, hope they're fed well. From dogs to pandas in very close quarters. These three pandas decided to leave their den at the same time, and it was a tight fit. Eventually, the trio made it out and got to the business of having some bamboo or whatever it is that pandas do. See, the three of them stuck together. That's like, it's like fitting into an old pair of pants.
Pandas are so much fun.
Like
they are fun.
The clown car.
They're incredibly cute, indeed. Well, parts of the U.S. are dealing with extreme heat, and that led to this mishap on the road. This road in Missouri buckled only milliseconds before this car drove over it. The next vehicle was able to slow down just in the nick of time. But look at the slow-mo of this incident. The road snaps just like that, and the car's driver had no time to respond whatsoever. It is 34 degrees there today, and it will stay hot all week long.
I want to get that front end. Look.
Yeah, you can hear the damage as well. It's not a great thing. Well, despite the escalation of hostilities.
All right, looking outside in Calgary, yeah, we have some clouds, isolated showers. In fact, we have isolated showers possible up until about 1 o'clock in the morning. And even a non-severe thunderstorm is possible. A little less likely, but it's possible. All right, before we get into the forecast here, check out daytime highs. So for us in the west, we've been cooler than normal for the last few days, including today. Just a high of 17 in Calgary, 14 in Edmonton. Check out Toronto, though, a high of 36, Ottawa 35, Montreal 35. These are just the base temperatures. When you factor in humidity, it feels closer to 45, 47. So excessive heat over here, cooler than normal over here, so quite a dramatic difference from east to west in our country. We're looking at more of a zonal flow kicking in, and basically what that means is going to help regulate temperatures so we won't have the excessive heat, the excessive cold. It'll still be hot, not as hot in the east, and for us here, we're going to get to normal temperatures, so quite reasonable for the rest of this week for us. We had thunderstorm activity, but this is all starting to quiet down for the night, but we can see these pockets rolling towards Calgary. We may turn into a thunderstorm by the time it gets here. All right, your 24-hour forecast brought to you by Action Furnace. Fix right or it's free. Small chance of thunderstorm activity. Definitely a better chance of shower activity on and off up until about 1 a.m. Fog patches overnight. High of 21 tomorrow, and by the supper hours tomorrow, we get into the chance of thunderstorms once again. Really, Rocky Mountain House and down the QE2, we have that potential over to Drumheller, High River later in the day, closer to those supper hours. Lethbridge high of 24, Medicine Hat high of 26, and looking at that 10-day trend, will remain in those lower 20s for the rest of this week. Ian?
The amateur this week at Paradise Canyon Golf Resort in Lethbridge. That event runs from Wednesday to Friday, and then he's got to concentrate on the Mickelson Invitational.
On a beautiful golf course.
Yeah, it's really nice there.
Yeah,
beautiful.
Spectacular.
Gorgeous.
So, Danielle, we had all the drama over the weekend, but it's no drama for the rest of the week, right?
Well,
maybe a little?
We'll say less drama.
Okay.
I mean, lots of people like drama, right? Okay.
Not a whole lot, Danielle, okay?
I don't know how to sell this one. I'm sorry. Yeah, we have the potential of late day instability Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. So it's a little unstable, but a lot of the day, throughout the day, will be quite nice. So if you golf earlier on, for example, you have some good chance of some nice weather the whole time. Temperatures in those low 20s for the week. So where we should be. And look at how stunning this is. Weather window brought to you by Lux Windows and Doors, crafting quality windows and doors for your style budget. Alberta's climate, and Esther Schneider sent this one in. And I mean, this is basically our week. Nice sunny days, but then clouding over later in the day.
Typical June pattern when you think about it. Okay, thank you. Thank you for joining us, and have a great night.